Alrighty, I thought I would try out something here. I had a few free minutes. I don't know if anyone's out there. This wasn't really planned. But you know me. I like tinkering. I'm curious which microphone this is picking up on. I'm gonna walk away. I bought a cheap webcam because it wasn't letting me do this on the desktop without the webcam plugged into some type. So I just bought one on Black Friday. But I'm not sure if it's using the microphone on my headphones or on the webcam. Windows says it's using the headphones, but the YouTube says it's using the webcam. So I'm going to get close to the webcam for a second. Hello, webcam. Is that louder? And I'm going to walk away from it now. If it's the headphones, you'll still hear me fine. If not, I'm probably getting quiet. So if I'm quiet now, it's the webcam. If I'm normal, then it's the headphones mic. Let me know what that sounds like. I'm going to pop out the dashboard if I can remember how to do it. You'd be amazed how much of my life is memorization. Where is that button? There it is. It's under more options. Now, if I can just remember that next time. That's the real trick is remembering. So one reason I actually do these is just to kind of keep my memory alive. All right, I'm gonna read your chats. Hey, El Tejin. My speech says your name. Very weird. You might imagine that. What's that about going to jail tomorrow? Hey, Scott. Yeah, I'm the overrated import AKs. I mean, I love import AKs, but it can't just be an automatic given that import equals gooder. You know what I mean? Hey, Rick. Aloha. That's Hawaii. Are you Texas or Hawaii? I'm confused. Hey, Valus. I'm sure you get a lot of things in the U.S. Kingdom. Hey, Victor. Thanks. FAL rear sights. You're you're asking a blind guy. I will say the Holland rear sight is like bulletproof because it only is adjustable for windage. You really can't break it. I like the para rear sight too because you at least have some uh, elevation adjustment, at least two not two apertures. The original FAL rear sight it just kind of stands out there, so it can get knocked. And the L1A1, the inch pattern rear sight, let's be honest, it folds, it can get knocked. It's probably the least precise, but then again, they had the Trilux more, so yeah. But I mean, obviously they stood up okay to abuse because otherwise we'd be seeing parts kits with them snapped off. But I would say the Holland or the Para, they're both protected and just really solid sights. I'm just straight vibing. I'm using the Force. Hey Joe. Hey Emino. Hey Browncoat. Yeah, I want to revisit the set meal. I really want to revisit the T91. It's just every time I think about throwing the T91 in the bag, there's so many other guns we need to do. One day I just need to shoot the guns I want to shoot, not what we need to. Colostomy. Well, there is a name. I don't really have any experience with the PSA Harrington and Richardson guns yet. I'm sure I will. I like the 14.5. You could do like a 653 clone, or maybe like an early 723. Yeah, I really like those intermediate guns. They're pretty spiffy, frankly. Really light and handy. Kingdom, I'm not sure. What am I supposed to think of? What? How did the rear trunnion self-destruct on a Wazer? It it takes some doing to break a rear trunnion on an AK. That would tell me it would be extremely overgassed. I don't know. Yeah, Rick, I like A1s a lot myself. I'd like to have a C1, excuse me, a C7 A1, or even a C8 A1 someday. I mean, I've got the North Korean that we've done a couple of videos on. I mean, it's as authentic North Korean as you're going to find in the USA. Yeah, there's been talk about doing the basically a 308 MKE for a very long time. I It'd be nice if it happened. Honestly, on the 308 Galil ARM, I wouldn't. If you actually want a shooter, the Galil Ace in 308 is a superior gun. The classic 80s guns, they were fine, but they were kind of made mostly for export, and they hadn't worked out all the bugs firing 308. Remember, the Galil was initially chambered for 5.56 223, so upping it to 7.62 NATO. Yeah, I found the aces tend to work a little better. Also, mags are a hell of a lot easier to get. I've done a couple of videos on the G3 set me. It's been a little bit, but there's not a lot to talk about on the G3. Unlike the FAL, there's lots of variants. Whenever foreign countries produced the G3, they pretty much stuck to HK pattern. I'd love to have a Swedish AK4. That's a bit of a variant. Like a Norwegian would be cool, but we don't have those in the country. And of course, you've got a few things like the G3K, but other than that, there's not a lot of stuff. You don't have like metric and inch G3s. H&R is just a brand name. Like the companies bought and closed, opened up, different. I mean, it's not a continuous company. It's like Winchester. It's just a brand name nowadays. On your Israeli FAL heavy barrel, did you get the straight 30 rounder or a curved one? Yeah, unfortunately for the 545 ammo, that was already drying up long before anything happened. The heyday for cheap 545 ammo was like 2006 through 2012. Yeah, it almost had to be something like that because if the rear trunnion's going to fail on a AK, I would be really, really surprised if the trunnion itself was to fail. It sounds like more of a rivet failure. I'm completely speculating, but I, they haven't really changed. So they make rear trunnions in a while, and it shouldn't be a super duper load bearing surface. So either it was had an explosion and just super overgassed things and just slammed back into it with excessive force, or yeah, the rivets just. Keep in mind, there's only a couple of rivets in the back of a trunnion. Cool. If you get a straight through, that's pretty neat. Obviously, the curved ones tend to be uh, the the converted Bren L4s. The really hard one to find is an L2 30 round mag. That would be the Australian or Canadian C2 inch pattern straight mag. You can come across the 30 round metrics slightly easier. Now, fun fact, and I could be wrong on this, but when you look at pictures and do research, it seems like even though the Israelis had the heavy barrel fallow, they typically just carried 20 round mags with them. The 30 round mags had kind of an odd reliability quirk. Look up on Google second round failure. Yeah, I really wouldn't buy a pre-bend Galil unless you're just a collector. As a shooter, there's better options today. The Galil Ace, I know people don't like the looks of it as much as the original, but in most every way, I'm just talking in terms of being a shooter, the modern Ace is better. They tend to be more accurate. They tend to have better mounting options for scopes. Mags are easier to find. With your zero 07, what are you planning on manufacturing? Did you get your SOT as well? I'm excited to actually get some PSA steel case ammo. When's it coming, PSA? Burnside, it's actually the cats that do the videos. Oh, El Tadjin, about the 653 and 723. I'm going to be real succinct. There's a lot of things I could say, but the big one that really is the line drawer 1 and 12 twist for 653, 1 and 7 twist for 723. By the way, guys, super chats would be good just so we can show Fox up since he's not here. Um, so I can rub it in his face, kind of have fun. But no, typically the 6 guns are the 1 and 12, and the 7 guns are the 1 and 7. But this is just kind of a very, very casual rule of thumb, so don't hold it to. I don't have as much. I don't really have much experience with the James River Galil clones. I had a few of the ATI, and they worked well. The James River, I've heard. I mean, not horrible things about, but like a lot of the Galil builds, a lot of it comes down to the quality of the parts they used. Oh, Scott, yeah, me too. I look back at my videos when the Gen 2 first came out. I called them out for that. I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, the Gen 2, say what you will, to me, it's just they cheapened out the. There's no way they're not saving money because they just went to a very generic, boring handguard. They're not using the Ace folding stock anymore. It's just AR. Um, yeah, and it's just a pick rail on top. At the very least, they should have done like detachable irons. Earl Peanut just jumped on me. I'm not sure where Earl's at the moment. I'm sure he's nearby. What kind of AKM production are you trying to do? Anything specific or just whatever? Yeah, the Aces really, when you consider the money, the fact that they're consistently cheaper than Arsenals, are really really good guns. I'm not gonna say they have the bestest fit and finish ever, but they're really good for sub Arsenal money. I think if I lived in New York, I would just become an old CNR collector. If I'm being honest with you, I I'm not sure why G3s are. For one thing, FN was very happy and willing to customize the FAL, and I think for another, it was the de facto standard base rifle for NATO, and the fact that it just came earlier. I mean, the FAL was in production 5 years before the later SETMEs and beginning of the G3. Sure, Elton. Amen to the Ace dropping the price. If they're going to drop some features like a lot of people complained about the railed handguard on the Ace. I thought it was pretty cool. I've always found the little covers when they're installed to be comfortable, and you pull them off and you've got rails. I always thought the Ace handguard was a relatively clever design. Someone got the title. There's a lot you can do with Romanian kits. A lot of cool variants and kind of get fun. Do some shorties. If nothing else, you can do the PM63, PM65, PM90s. I'm gonna do a final test on this mic. It's called "Going to Get My Cup of Coffee." So if you don't hear me, then we definitely know it's the camera mic. and then I'll work with it in a minute if I can. It may force me to use the same for both. All right, I'm back now. If you can hear me now, but couldn't for a minute there, then yeah, it's definitely using the microphone on the camera. It may force me to use it since I have to use the camera. 2004 Wassers, that'd be first generation. That would still be, well, I mean, if it's a really late one, it could still be, it could be a GP, but it could also be a Banera. Not really. I mean, it's hard to think off the top of my head what there could be. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Let me see if I can switch it in Windows, but I'm not going to dink with it too much. Makes it might as force me. Okay, try it now. I changed the setting in Windows, so let's see if it's picking up from the headphones now. Remind me on the Romac too, Scott. Honestly, if it were me, SKS or New York compliant AK, yeah, I'd probably get the SKS. I don't really like fuckery, and so at least you can have an SKS. It's the way it's meant to be, and the SKS is really cool in its own right. I mean, M90s are really good, so stop M90s. Not sure. Got a lot of videos on them. I would definitely pick one of those over a WBP or a Pioneer in the 5.56, not in 7.62. But yeah, a fixed mag VZ58 is a little more practical because the VZ58 from the get go was designed to feed from stripper clips. So at least it doesn't look weird and it mechanically functions the way it should. Oh yeah, the furniture on the old Wassers and the SAR ones was a lot better. First they did like shellac, Then they went to a simpler oil finish that was still good. And then they quit doing the palm swells. And most of the ones from that era, if you look, they don't have the palm swells. They're not true straight handguards. They actually cut the dong off the bottom. Some are actual true straight handguards, but a lot of them are cut dongs. So basically, an AK circumcision. I've actually done a video on Arsenal slash Armory USA down in Texas. Okay, so see, it took a European, see Americans to donate. So now we're going to be pro Europe for the rest of this stream. I could even try putting on an accent. How about that? Thanks. Shoot, if we got some VZ82s and send them back over to Europe, they just come back over here. It's kind of like a letter that goes back and forth and has all the postage stamps on it. I can just see a VZ82 with like 6 import stamps on it as it just keeps going around. Fun fact, they would not import them over here until 2005 when our assault weapons ban was gone because no one wanted to do a 10-round mag for the 82. So they just waited till they were legal. What do you mean, chance of Wasser switching to the classic gas block? Honestly, on your Romanian there, if you're having some headspace issues, the barrel should be good to go. I'm speculating. The barrel is really the most valuable part, being a imported chrome hammer forged chrome line 545 barrel. Those are uncommon. I think if it were me, I would look towards maybe swapping the bolt out. Let me know. I'm gonna get up too. Let me know how I sound. See if I actually was able to switch over. So, oh, that's great. Sorry, I just ran into something. Sometimes cats are wonderful creatures, I tell you. So if you can still hear me, the microphone on. Sorry, the cat's making a mess. So, garbage cans, those things. You know what? You know what? Whatever. Cats is gonna stay. Much. But hey, we're just hanging out trying to work on a few things. And at the moment, cleaning up my cat mess. It's always something. These little bastards. Lordy, that's a big one. Almost like that. Sorry about that. Of course, they always pick now to do such wonderful animal things, right? Well, I've got you. Well, you can hear me, hopefully. But any new guns? I've had a few CNR guns show up recently. A lot of people doing assignments right now. Yes. All right. Hopefully you heard me talking that whole time. If not, it must have been very boring. I am back. On the PSA 101, 102, honestly, I've expressed it a lot of times. Ooh, 330 for an SKS in 2023. Yeah, honestly, I'd worry too. It could just be a good deal, but that's awfully cheap. Hey, Brody. Thanks, man. Wassers just say Wasser 10 on them. They didn't write like Wasser 1063 or Wasser G. That a lot of that stuff is just Century catalog. Okay, I get you. Like the Wasser V2 guys, like Roger that. M77B or M77B1 and 308. What are we talking about? Parts kit or actual guns? Hey, Logi. Yeah, this is completely impromptu because I wanted to see if this extremely cheap webcam I bought on Black Friday worked. I've been wanting to do it for a couple of weeks, but it's been very busy. I thought, now or never. Well, a banana is more of a twig than a berry. Switching the mic didn't work. Trying to catch up on the chat, guys. I'd have to look and see which video I went into the history. And on the channel, search for the SLR 100. I think I talked about it when I talked about the SLR 100, 100H, 100, and the SSR 99P. Yeah, East German grips are definitely distinctive, but the Zastava should run brass fine. In fact, that's what Yugoslavia made was brass. As far as affordability of Steelcase, what do you consider affordable? I think we'll be able to see it for roughly $3 a round, but I mean, sorry, 3 rounds for a buck. There we go. That's what I meant to say. I guess I'm just kind of wondering where you're finding an M77B and M77B1 parts kit. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch. I don't actually own any AC Unity mags. All of my mags are military. Yeah, I wouldn't have a slant brake on an M77 either. That's not right. Okay, I didn't see Atlantic having the M77s. Again, I was kind of out of touch last week, and then the moment I got back this weekend, I had to work through Saturday to catch up on orders, so I haven't really had a chance to do anything. I had a buttload of emails. I'll look at that mic again, but I'm getting suspicious that it's just not going to let me do it. Hmm. I wonder what that did. That did something. But I did something. I don't know what, but I did something. And then my phone's ringing. Of course, that's how it goes. Eh, calm back. Maybe. Could you stop for me? Eh. Oh well. It'll stop ringing in a second. Tortoise receivers seem fine. I think American makers have got the milled receiver down finally. It's really about the heat treat. Yeah, I've got that M65, or as Atlantic called it, the M64 RPK on the Tortoise, and I've had a few others over the years. They're fine. I've never really messed much with Riley, if I'm being honest. So is Mike still picking up? If so, yeah, how's it sound? I'm gonna get up again. If you hear me right now, let me know. And then when you say yes, I'm gonna get up. Thanks, Enter. Ooh, as far as collectible Segas, I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows. I think it's safe to say though that the non-military guns are going to be less collectible. In that kind of thing, if you look at the pre-banned guns as kind of a guide, it's always the guns that are based on a military pattern that are collectible. So the further you get away from the military pattern, the less they will be. There'll always be that collectability just because it's a Russian gun. Now converting it, who did the job? How good of one did they do? And the thing about the Sega 308s is you're not going to make it into a military gun. Most conversions, that's the key goal that gives value. So I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna walk out. Let me know if you hear me this time. See if this mic is picking up. Not a lot. I'll try it. All right, now I'm back here. So if you can hear me in there, let me know. If not, no harm, no foul. We tried it. No, never had a stacking. I think I get the one if you just wanted M77. I think I get the longer barrel and the bipod. Makes more sense for a 308. Yeah, but when the Chinese commercial SKSs became collectible, that's because they look like a military. And also, compare a Chinese commercial SKS to a military, which is generally speaking going to go for more. Yeah, there were some Sega 308s that came over. I accidentally bought one way back in 2004. I've talked about it. Kind of one I wish I had just to show. It was really just an odd anomaly. But it had the pistol grip, it had the Russian buttstock. And the reason it kind of stood out, it was the Sporter buttstock because it had the small sling swivel and was kind of made to match the forearm. But instead of being the hunting style, it actually had a separate pistol grip and it had an AK-74 muzzle brake on there, but it was welded on from the factory and it had no provision for a cleaning rod. So it was very clearly a sporter gun, but it had a pistol grip. What do you mean? Why am I not doing Ozark anymore? What's still not working, Chris? Okay, I'm confused. Someone said he couldn't hear me, and now someone says the mic sounds good. I'm so very confused. Yeah, Sega 12s came over with pistol grip, even folding stock, because they just they decided around 2011, 2012 that a pistol grip was a quote sporting feature on a shotgun. Shotguns and rifles have different rules. Well, why would you want a picture? I mean, let's be honest, it's not a big market for the Vepr to compete in. Most mag-fed shotguns are kind of a hodgepodge, very commercial. The Vepr is one of the few that's actually built tough and actually built for real use. Like all the AR-15 shotguns, those aren't built for anything. They're fun. I'm not going to say otherwise, but they're a commercial gun. The Vepr 12, even the Sega 12, are actually built for police use, even military use. Yeah, the camera is not meant to be. I don't why. Anyway, I'm in a dark room. You wouldn't see anything if I had it on. The camera's here. I have the little lens thing covering it. Even if I didn't, so I can lift it up here for a second if you want. But there's really nothing to see. See? Maybe you can see my hand moving, but that's just probably from ambient light from around. I want to be honest with you. I've never seen the movie Shrek. No, I never said I wasn't doing Ozark Bear Arms anymore. In fact, I worked my butt off all weekend to get a bunch of packages shipped out. Sorry, guys, I got a little bit lost in the chat. Hey, even sighted people get lost in chats on these, so hey. Generally, I would say a Vepr 12 is better than a Sega 12, but there are a few areas where the Sega 12 might be better, mostly to do with weight and handling. I don't know. The Vepr 12 is a very chunky boy, and that's okay. But the Sega 12 can feel a little better just handling, and it's certainly more comfy to carry. That makes sense. Mm. Well, there's definitely a film called The Birds. I had a Definitive Arms as a loaner many years ago. So you hear me now, but if I leave the room now, you still can't hear me. I'm gonna leave this for a second to confirm. So I'm walking away, leaving the room, leaving. So, and now coming back in. And back in. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about Disney today. I mean, really, the deal is you can't show guns on live streams anyway. So what would I show you? I guess I could show you cleaning up the cat vomit I did a few minutes ago. And what a riveting thing that would have been. Okie doke. Yeah, I think what it is even though I set the microphone to Windows, I think the YouTube slash Google, since it's coming through the webcam, and it won't let me do a live stream without some kind of webcam feed. Oh well, on the laptop it works fine, but things to know. Yeah, I really do like the 24-inch AUG. It's a neat one. I'm gonna try some one more thing. Yeah, I mean my KR9's been a really solid gun for coming up on 5 years next month. I got it January, February of 2019, so I have no complaints. I mean, we weren't going to get a Sega 9, unfortunately. So since there's no import option, then that's the next best thing. Whenever there's an import option like that, yeah, I'd rather have a SGL 21 over a KR 103. But when it comes to things we've never had, I'll take that because KUSA is really doing a good clone job. They clone the way I would, even down to the details. And that's kind of my problem with like Palmetto State and a few others. They slap some black furniture on a gun and call it an AK 101. No. If, you, if you're going to actually call something an AK 101, do it. Otherwise, just call it a modern AK and have it that. Do, do, do. Yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, in Windows, it's showing set to the headphones, not the microphone. So I think it's a setting within Chrome. Oh well, couldn't have everything go right. Right, I mean, it wouldn't be right with computers if it 100% worked. I'll settle for mostly. I mean, at least for live streaming. So, and you can hear me. The Grandpa is fine. I remember when they first came out. It's not really a military gun as such, so I'm kind of neutral on it, if I'm being honest. Nah, KUSA is fine. They Yeah. Just did a video on the 20-inch Hellion a few days ago. Even picked up a bayonet for the Hellion. The only reason I went ahead and grabbed the bayonet for it, of all things, the bayonet for the 20-inch Hellion is also the same bayonet that fits my G36.